Hey, how are you?
Good.
It's 5:30. I'll bring the Planning and Development Committee to order. Ms. Jessie?
Yes, good evening. First item we have on the agenda is petition by Shannon E. and Cameron M. Lines et al. To annex TMS number 14508000022, located at the end of West Smith Street and totaling approximately 13.5 acres, currently zoned TRM, Transitional Residential in Dorchester County, and would be zoned MFR, Multifamily Residential, upon annexation into the town of Somerville's municipal limits. This would be in Council District 3. Planning Commission held a public hearing and made a recommendation for denial at their meeting on November 20th, 2023.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to say I'm concerned by not only having one egress out in the neighborhood, trying to get that continue flow through and the safety. I think the nearest fire station is 3 miles away. That's pretty much
Mr. Chair and Ms. Jessie, quick question. I know that this fell under the threshold for the TIA. However, there were some comments from Lincolnville. Did those come from the city of Lincolnville or did those come from Lincolnville residents?
So I only received one phone call that came from the actual, I think it's their zoning administrator. He called me and said that they had received calls from folks in Lincolnville and that the mayor was concerned about the traffic generation from the proposed development.
Okay. Councilman Jackson brought up a good point. I'm not sure if the chiefs had a real good opportunity to look at this. Did you run this through the chiefs at all?
I did not.
Okay. Well, I think
It did go through the fire marshal at TRC, but I did not run it through the chiefs.
Okay. Well, I'm willing to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we move this forward to full council without any recommendation in order to get some more information from public safety, because I think your point's valid, Councilman Jackson.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the next item on the agenda is wayfinding signage discussion. I don't know if some of y'all may not weren't on council, but back in 2021, we contracted with Merge to do wayfinding signage design for the town. We got through pretty much the entire process and pretty much had a final design, but we never actually got to the point of funding the signs to be made. So last year, Dorchester County approached us after we did the TIF in Oak Brook and said they were looking to do wayfinding signage and asked if, we wanted to work with them in Oak Brook for the wayfinding signage. So we said, yes, we'd work with them. They hired Merge, same firm, and developed their signage that looks very similar to ours, but is slightly different. And so now, they sent us their design, and we looked at our design, and we have kind of wanted council's feedback on what your thoughts were. So they came up with an actual logo for the Oak Brook area, which you can see is the little O with the acorn in the middle of it and the word. We did not have that previously. We just had the word Oak Brook for the area. And then of course the other areas in town, should we proceed to do the full wayfinding package. But they had it, it was in your packet. It's not on the screen because I didn't want to confuse anyone, but they had it slightly different with the Somerville on the bottom and Oak Brook at the top. All of our signs had Somerville at the top so that it was clear that you were in Somerville and then the area. So what staff kind of prefers and wanted to see if council agreed or whether or not is to have Somerville at the top in black, as we previously had, as council had previously approved the design for, and then keep the Oak Brook logo like county council had, but have it at the bottom. Because we, just want to note that we're in Somerville first and then which neighborhood you're in at the bottom rather than at the top. And so it would look like the one on the left. Or there's the potential, I guess, to switch the coloring and have the light color on the top and the dark color on the bottom. But just wanted to get your feedback so we could let Dorchester County know what our recommendations were from the town in terms of the signage in Oak Brook. And as I explained in the staff report, we are hoping to come back to y'all at the mid-budget retreat to see about doing the rest of the wayfinding signage in town. But right now, this Oak Brook signage would actually be paid for through TIF funds, so it wouldn't be additional funding.
So if I understand it, we're gonna go back with the recommendation for what's on the left.
Well, that's what staff likes best.
Yeah.
But we wanted to make sure y'all agreed and didn't want to just say,
And that county is taking funds out of the Oak Brook TIF. And they will be doing all of these signs, the ones that are county.
some that
will
are
be
in town and
county,
some that are
and
not
some that
town.
will be Somerville, and they'll be slightly different. They'll just be different from the ones that we use in the rest of
Yeah, I mean,
downtown
they're very
Somerville.
similar. They're just a little bit different colors, a little bit different. Like I said, I think they have the light on the top and they have the neighborhood on the top and but I think we wanted all of ours to look the same. Should we proceed with doing the full and the previous design had the Somerville on top and the neighborhood on the bottom. So that was what we were proposing to recommend to the county and just wanted to make sure y'all didn't have any issues with that recommendation.
My first thought was the logo. I was trying to figure out what it was, and then it looked like a rabbit, but I'm like, it's not really a rabbit. I think if they kind of change the oak and just put a stem on it or something to make it look like an oak nut. Because I don't get that. And driving by and not caring, I definitely wouldn't get that. And just because I'm thinking of my area, or ours all green, my only thought was green is for Somerville High School and Oak Brook is Ashley Ridge.
So all of our signs are green.
Okay.
The neighborhood, the color at the bottom changes per neighborhood, but all of the actual signs, the main portion of the sign, council had previously asked for them all to be green.
If I could see one with a maroon bottom,
What's that?
a maroon bottom for
Okay.
Ashley Ridge. I don't know that I'd like it, but I'd like to see it.
I guess I've got maybe a question based on what Councilman Jackson's asking. It is my understanding that county has approved their sign design and they're going forward with their money to put their signs in. Am I so far accurate?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, yes.
So they're coming back to us to say, do you want to go do your own signs out there? Or do you accept, in essence, our design with some minor tweaks? And we'll then put in all of the signs.
Right, yeah, I mean, that Oak Brook logo is what their logo is for Oak Brook. I mean, that's what they've approved as the logo for Oak Brook. So that's what's gonna be throughout their area for Oak Brook. And I think it would be confusing to have two different Oak Brook logos, but,
I agree.
so.
If they've already done theirs, then.
Yeah, so I mean, it's my understanding that county council has pretty much approved theirs. They just wanted to make sure we didn't have any issues with what had been designed. And like I said, we had some little tweaks we wanted to see, just to make it more obvious when you were in Somerville and when you weren't. Yes.
I don't think. it would.
I don't think we need to send this to council, do we? For discussion? I mean, we're basically saying, how about the 5 signs y'all gonna do out there that got Somerville on them? You accept the recommendation of our staff?
It's kind of up to, that's why we wanted to bring it to you.
I'm
all. I didn't
completely
want
good with that. I'll just call Jay and say, what do you think? Jay and Bill, since they're both in Oak Brook. and See what they think.
They've already basically
Hmm.
approved.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
Essentially, we asked them to incorporate what we've already designed into what they are proposing.
Mhm.
And they did that for us, and that's what you're saying.
And the other thing I'm trying to work with them on is lighted signs, road signs above the sign. Because right now, the sign overhead says Dorch for Dorchester Road. And North Charleston, when you go just past that, has all lighted signs.
And just an ancillary comment to all that's going on here. I hope that they engaged their community partners in Oak Brook before designing the logo, but either way,
I'm honestly not
I'm-
sure what their process was, but
I'm happy that they're doing it and I appreciate them bending their signs to look like ours.
I was gonna say, if there's no objections, we don't need a motion. I just wanted to make sure there were no objections.
Go and
before
do
we-
well as you think best.
Then that is all I have.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
All right, hello. Okay. The first item on the agenda is discussion and consideration of stop signs on King Charles Circle. This is held over from last month where there was some discussion and then it was decided on and then residents didn't agree. And so it goes back to discussing with the HOA. So I don't know if it'd be better just to table it and have time to discuss with HOA.
I agree. I spoke with the HOA president, wrote him an email, and then I spoke with him on the phone. And he agreed that if we ask engineering to go back and just look at that whole stretch of King Charles, and in your opinion, what is the best plan to do? They talked about moving the stop signs to a different street, which is the street before, and of course now I can't remember that street. But instead of Birdcage, the next one, I'm sorry, I can't remember it, but I know we talked about it, of putting it there. But I guess you guys need to look at that to see if that is feasible, because it's so close to Lee Street. And So I guess we just. can
Just
we
look
just-
at it and.
Yeah. Do we need to, a vote on tabling it?
I'm looking. Do we need to vote on tabling? Mr. Parker?
Postponing.
I make a motion that we,
You have to do something.
I make a motion that we, table item A for further discussion with the HOA.
Second.
Okay, I have a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
None in disagreement, so, okay.
The next item is discussion and consideration of a quitclaim deed for DOT property along the Berlin Myers Parkway and Sawmill Branch. There is an exhibit. I don't know, right there. Yes. Yes, that is, it's about 47 acres. And it borders phase 3 of Berlin Myers and the Somerville Country Club. And DOT, they had contacted me that council had previously approved it, and it might have been several years ago. We just didn't have any record of it. They have the quitclaim deed already drawn up, but we just need to know that indeed the town wants to take this property.
I'll make a motion. We move this forward, with a recommendation of approval to full council for Thursday night.
Second.
Okay, we got a first and second to move it forward for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Any of those opposed? All right, ayes have it.
Great. And the final item is consideration of speed reduction on Waring Street between Simmons Avenue and Noisette Row. This was also briefly discussed at November's meeting, but no resolution came, so we're here to discuss it again.
Coming up again.
All right.
I make a motion that we reduce the speed on this section of Waring to 15 miles per hour due to two-way traffic on a very narrow stretch of roadway.
I'll second that
All right.
as a former resident of Ware Street.
A first and a second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed.
Okay, thank you.
That's it? Okay. Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
That's one's yours. Look at this one's marked. Hey, how are you? I'm glad they're doing. Oh, good.
Not coming.
Go ahead. We're ready, Mayor.
I'm gonna call the council meeting order now and ask Ms. Rhonda if she'll give us the finance committee report.
Certainly. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. You have before you the November 30th financial report. The report shows we collected just under 1.8 million in revenue for the month. Year to date, we're at 8.3. We're trending same as last year, same percentages. So I think we're in good shape there. Our expenses, we in aggregate, we're 41%, which we're 41% through the year. Our expenditures total 4.7 for the current period and year to date of 18.5. We have transfers in, which came from the hospitality account of the 291. And our year-to-date total for that is almost 1.5. So, for the 4 months ending November, we have a deficit position of just under 2.7 million and year-to-date 8.8 million. We should start receiving our property taxes, this month. If you look at the revenue, detail, we collected, 975,000 in taxes, total of 1.8 million. License and permits, 365,000 for a year to date of 3.6 million. Municipal court, we're, a little bit above budget on that, 23,000 for a year to date total of 130. State revenues, I double checked this because I was like, how did we not get any state revenues? But I guess with the holiday month, they were running a little bit late, so it didn't come in until the first week of December. So our year to date is still 1.7. Our miscellaneous revenues are 408,000 for the period. Year to date, 1,086,000. We started billing Dorchester 2 quarterly for their for our SRO agreement, so we could start bringing that cash flow in on a quarterly basis and not wait till the end of the year. So that first quarter came in during November. And of course, the hat tax that we were talked about earlier. Impact fees. Between residential and commercial impact fees across Parks and Rec, Fire, and Municipal, we collected about $82,000 in impact fees. We had no expenses during the month. So year to date, we have our revenue has exceeded our expenses by $399,000. Questions? The hospitality and accommodations, we're trending right on target for budgeted for hospitality tax. We collected 486,000 between hospitality and a tourism grant, and our expenses total 414 for the month. Our expenses year to date are 2.5 million. We're still in a little bit of deficit position because of the bond payment. That should catch up. I think our average, obviously, at $6 million budget is about $500,000 a month. We are right at that. And I checked last year, and we're trending the same we were at year to date last year, so we're right on target for that. Accommodations, we collected 36,000 for November, year to date 191, and we have not spent any money out of our accommodations tax fund this year. Last one is stormwater. We collected 192,000 in revenue this period for a year to date of 205. Our expenditures were 198, and our year to date was 832. So obviously still in deficit position, and that should reverse beginning next month. Any questions, comments? Thank you.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Next is request to surplus and sell the planning department's 2004 Chevy Impala vehicle PL 102.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve this.
A second.
Have a motion?
Yeah, you had a second.
You have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, signify by raising right hand, voting aye.
Aye. Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion, we go into executive session to discuss the contractual matter related to annual contract renewal in Somerville Green.
Second.
Motion second, we go into executive session. Any discussion on this? Not all in favor, signify by raising right hand, voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, ayes carry.